Hi, I'm Melissa, and this is The Book Break. And today we have an extra special treat. We have Kevin J. Anderson here with us, and I'm just going to bring him right in.
Hi, Melissa, and hi, everybody. It's the last time you and I talked, we were standing outside in a snowstorm doing our best to look professional and get it recorded. So this time we're a little bit more comfortable. And
oh, yeah, definitely warmer. So, Kevin, what I really wanted to talk about today is something that is near and dear to my heart, and that is the publishing master's degree that you are the director of and the teacher of at Western Colorado University. And so I would love for you to just tell everyone a little bit more about it, because I'm graduating from this program myself in just a few weeks.
Well, and she's not doing this interview to get a good grade. I think she's graduating no matter what. But yeah, a few years ago, I was asked by Western Colorado University to see if I could put together a graduate program specifically in publishing for a Master of Arts degree. And I've kind of got all the right grab bag of credentials. I've been an author, a best-selling author working for major New York publishers. I've also been an indie author. I founded my own press, Wordfire Press, and did all of my own like self-publishing and ebooks and figured out how to do that. And then we had to learn how to do print publishing and how to reprint other classic books. And basically I had to learn how to do everything. And so I wanted to teach that for everybody. Now for boy, what is it now? 12 years, 13 years. I've been helping to run the Superstars Writing Seminar. So I love teaching and mentoring other people, and it's really been helpful to me. But right now I put together a brand new program. It's a 1 year. Well, it's not brand new. We're about to launch our third year. It still feels fresh, which means we're still working out the bugs and trying to get it all right. But I put together a 1 year Master of Arts program to get a degree in publishing. And it teaches you, it's half and half traditional publishing, New York publishing, newspaper, magazine, all that kind of stuff. And also the other half is indie publishing, that how to do it yourself, because that's really the big thing now. And everybody's wanting to form their own, either just to publish their own books or to publish other people's books. And so I did this program that's half and half. And for the big projects that they're doing, the students are actually hands-on working on things. They learn about copyright and intellectual property and contracts and printing and distribution and marketing and advertising. And they're in a more reasonable order than I just rattled them off like that. But I'm just loving this. And Melissa's going to be in the second group of graduating students. And kind of the reason we're doing this interview now is that 5 weeks from today, as we're recording this, so 5 weeks from when this is broadcasting, is our summer residency in July in Gunnison, Colorado, and that's when the next group starts. And we had one student who had to withdraw, so we've got one more slot open, and we can actually fit two more if we get 2 applicants. So we're kind of looking for that. Anyway, the students, for their major project that they do as a group, they come up with an idea for an original anthology. They write up the call for submissions. And I don't know what next year's group is going to do, whether it's unicorn ghosts or who knows what it might be. And we have funding from a company called Draft to Digital that gives us the money to pay professional rates for these stories. The students write up their solicitation for stories, send it all out to everybody, and then bam, what did you get? 535 submissions last fall.
Yes.
And you guys all had to go through the slush pile and read them. And every single one of those submissions was just a brilliant piece of literature. And well, maybe not.
Maybe not.
But what was great is that they all went through the slush pile. They had to write the rejections. Then they had to kind of fight over which ones they wanted to accept because they had a budget. You could only spend this much money. And then they had to figure out which ones to buy. And it's not just which one are the absolute best. It's, well, do we have too many werewolf stories and we can't get another one? And do we have, they're all funny stories and no dramatic stories. And there's all this give and take they have to do. And then the students worked with the authors. They issued the contracts. Then they designed the cover, and then they helped lay out the book. And in fact, we're about to do a big book launch this summer. When everybody gets together in Gunnison, we're having an actual in-person book signing with all of the editors. And the week before that, there's a big virtual book signing. So in fact, we'll probably have you mention something about that when it's coming closer so they can watch us on YouTube. But I'm going to do the big.
Yeah, show us the book, because I've got it on the shelf behind me. But
Unmasked, Tales of Risk and Revelation. And this is what they came up with. And they designed this cover. They found the stock art, and they designed different type treatments. They designed the interior. It's a real book. It's beautiful. And we just got a great review in Publishers Weekly and a couple of other things. And so this is coming out, and they're all working together to promote it. But then the other cool thing, for their individual project, each student has to take an old out of print public domain classic, because that means there's no copyright on it. They can reprint their own version of it. And we put them through the paces from start to finish. They find the text if they have to scan it from an old copy, or they find it on some online streaming platform or something. They get the text, and then they proofread it. Then they exchange books and proofread each other's stuff, because no set of eyeballs is perfect. Here's a whole bunch of the covers that are coming up for all of the new ones that we've got. And then they design the cover, all those covers, the students design those covers. They physically themselves lay out the book. There's a software called Vellum that they use to put together the book. They produce the printing masters. They produce the ebooks. And then they're producing little advertising things as the books get released. And then they're all going to be signing there. So I'm just gonna show off, because I'm so proud of what they did. And Melissa, you could be last, because you're the one that with your
okay.
Of it. I'm gonna put it up. So here's one called The Jewel of Seven Stars. It's a classic by Bram Stoker, the guy who wrote Dracula. The student was Deborah Keevan. And we even got like some of these that we put the original artwork inside it that we found from the old out of print editions. That's a great one. Matthew Wright did a Jules Verne classic, From the Earth to the Moon and Round the Moon. And this is another, it's just an awesome thing. So he found for these chapter headings the different phases of the moon, and he came up with that artwork. And this is all the old original artwork. So these are just beautiful books, and they're all in hardcover and trade paperback and in ebooks. One by Constanza Ontaneda. This is Mother of Frankenstein. It's some seminal works by the mother of Mary Shelley, Mary Wollstonecraft, who was one of the founders of modern feminism. And she wrote some very groundbreaking books that have been kind of hard to find and out of print. And Constanza collected these pieces, and she produced this really, really cool, beautiful, historical, relevant book. Amanda Spriggs did this one. Two classic novels by H.G. Wells, The Sleeper Awakes and Men Like Gods. And what's interesting with these is one is a dystopia and one is a utopia, because Wells himself changed over the course of his life, that he kind of shifted his own political thing. So these are two classic science fiction books, and this is a massive volume. It's this great work that she did. Erickson Holt, or Mark Holt as we know him, he did a 100th anniversary of this, one of the very first dystopian novels ever done by a Russian dissident under Stalin. It was Yevgeny Zamyatin. And he wrote this. It's the inspiration for 1984 and for Brave New World. And what he included in this, that because this was so controversial, and Stalin did not like this book at all, he was either going to be executed or exiled. And the author, Yevgeny Zamyatin, wrote this passionate letter to Stalin saying, please don't kill me, just exile me. And Mark Holt got that original letter in Russian, and he translated it, and it's included in here. So it's this amazing thing. And this was a very seminal book that changed a lot, but it's been out of print for a long time, and it's hard to find. So that's important. Kelly Adams did another really interesting thing. You might have heard the story about this one stormy night around Lake Geneva in 1817 or something like that, when Lord Byron and Percy Bysshe Shelley and Mary Shelley and Dr. Polidori were sitting in their villa around Lake Geneva, and they said, let's all write ghost stories. And that was the inspiration for why Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein, why Lord Byron wrote Vampire, why Dr. Polidori wrote his own vampire story. And this was like this one night created these new genres that people just didn't write in. So Kelly put all these pieces together. It's Frankenstein, it's Lord Byron's work, it's Dr. Polidori's Vampire, and there's this neat foreword that puts it all together. So there's that one. Dale Sprague did The Lost World, which is like the original Jurassic Park. It's some of you might remember the 1960s something movie where it's a high plateau in the middle of the South American Amazon jungle where dinosaurs still exist, and these intrepid explorers find it. And so Dale created this. So we've got even a map in there, and he designed all this stuff. In between, see a little pterodactyl? We got a pterodactyl in the middle as page breaks on that one. And then just one last one. We had a guest student for one semester, and she put together a classic, it's newer. One of our poetry directors at Western Colorado University had written his first novel, and he is the winner of the American Book Award. He's a very well-respected poet, and we reprinted his literary allegorical novel, Rise, Do Not Be Afraid. So it's a little bit different from the other ones, but these are the projects that we all put together. And Melissa, you want to show off yours?
Yeah, so I did The Story of Dr. Dolittle, which is the very first Dr. Dolittle book that started it all. It introduces Dr. Dolittle, and it's his origin story, how he became an animal doctor, because he was at first a people's doctor. So this one I also did in hardcover and paperback. Now, these are what are called proofs, meaning these come to me from the printer because this book is going to be released August 31st. So it comes to me from the printer so I can check it. And one of the things that I did is I got it re-illustrated. And so there are 32 brand new illustrations in here. So you can see like just the title page alone is awesome. And there's just a bunch of really cool illustrations in here that are brand new. See, here's another one. Put together by Tom Tolman, who is a brilliant illustrator. And just to give you another, like this is when we are checking the printout of the cover, this is the actual printout too. So the other thing that I did with this, and I went a little bit different, and I thankfully worked with Kevin a lot because this was tricky. So when you guys do this program, because you will want to do this program, one of the benefits of it is you get to work really closely with Kevin, which, I mean, you're talking about, okay, Kevin, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit. You're talking about a legend. Like everybody knows, if you know science fiction, you know who Kevin J. Anderson is. And so I didn't even plan it this way, but if you look at my bookshelf behind me, you will see all of those Dune books right there. I've got Star Wars, I've got X-Files, and those are all Kevin's books. So I'm a little bit of a fangirl of Kevin's. And so it's really fun because you get to do a whole bunch of stuff. Now, in my instance, I actually had to edit my book a little bit more and do some rewriting with it because there were racist things in there that I just couldn't feel good about putting out to children. And so I worked really closely with Kevin and some other editors and writers to make sure that we stayed as close to the classic as we could, but fix the racist things that were in the book. So it's a really fun project too. And actually behind me on this side, there we go. You can see the book from the first cohort, which is Monsters, Movies, and Mayhem. And that was their anthology. Our anthology is Unmasked, like we showed. And so notice the topics are very different. So they went with horror in Monsters, Movies, and Mayhem, whereas we went with stories of risk and revelation in Unmasked. And we didn't have, like, we thought when we did it, we would get a lot of COVID stories, but we didn't actually.
We got one. We had to make sure we got one in there.
Yes, we did. And we also thought we would get a ton of superhero stories, which we didn't get as many as we thought, but we still have some superhero stories in there. And we have some big name authors that joined with new authors too, like Shauna McGuire. She's an amazing author and she's in there. She's our opening story. And we had a bonus story that we got to put in there too by UG Foster. And that's a memorial to her because, as those in the science fiction community know, she has passed away. And this was one. Now, isn't there a Dragon Con award in her name?
There is a Dragon Con award in her name because she used to work. I think she did the Daily Dragon, the newspaper that they did. But Yugi's story in our book also won the Nebula Award, and it's all about masks. It's just perfect for this thing. And I actually had worked with her when it won the Nebula Award because that was the year that I edited the Nebula Awards anthology. So I kind of had that connection to it. I also want to mention with the Monsters, Movies, and Mayhem that was the first anthology that the students did. And it's nominated for the Colorado Book Award for the best anthology. So it's like, wow, it's actually getting, and it got a starred boxed review in Publishers Weekly. And so we're not just doing like homework projects and classwork. This is like real practical stuff. And after you come out of it, if you go to our YouTube channel, I know it's been up there, there's some videos of the students when they're like opening the boxes with their books for the first time. So you get to see like, oh, this is the first time they're looking at it. And, you know, we just went through all of these books and all this stuff that we were talking about. And yes, I would love for you all to go and buy copies of those books. But the thing that we're actually trying to show you, though, is that this is what you do as a student in this program, that you decide, am I going to reprint the War of the Worlds or something? And then it's your job to shepherd that project through every step of the process so that it doesn't exist without you, that you, the student, do absolutely every step of it so that you know how. Now, when you become a publisher, you're probably going to farm out a lot of that stuff. So go ahead, Melissa.
Oh, I was just going to say something that I wanted to put out there is, so I've worked in publishing on and off for 18 years, but I learned a ton in this program. I mean, I know more of the marketing side, but I had never been an editor before. And I learned I'm actually a pretty good editor. I'm just super, super slow. So, I mean, that was a new thing to work through. I had never used vellum before. And so learning how to do interior design of a book was awesome. Just knowing the basics, I think, makes you a better publisher because you know what you're looking for. But it also makes you, if you're going to be an indie author and you're going to put out your own product, you're going to know how to shepherd your products through the whole process and save yourself some money too by being able to do some of those things yourself.
Well, and by doing it ourselves, we've been learning stuff too. In fact, you with your beautiful illustrations, like we did the whole layout and everything, and suddenly what that came up that you've got a bunch of these cross-page illustrations. Mm-hmm. Suddenly like, oh wait, the printer doesn't know how to do that without a gap in between them, and that we had to go over backward to solve it. One thing that I didn't mention, though, that I said in 5 weeks we're going to start the residency, except for the 1 or 2 weeks in Colorado in July. Everything else is online, and it's not at your own pace because there's weekly assignments, but you don't have to be sitting at the computer at any specific time unless we have a very occasional guest speaker or something. It's mainly, here's your assignment, you got to do your stuff, and you've got all week to do it. And because I basically work 24 hours a day, Melissa can get a hold of me at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night or something like that. And that's what you do as a publisher. There's no such thing as a Monday through Friday and everything stops at 4:30 on a Friday afternoon. You just keep doing it. But I have a lot of irons in the fire. It's this publishing program, and I'm running my own publishing house, and I've got my own writing career. And just before we did this interview, I was banging out a couple of panels in a new comic script. And it's just, I just find it interesting and fun. And I'm just really proud of my students. I'm happy to see the next group of Padawans go off to become evil Sith Lords or whatever they're going to do when in publishing. But let's see, the other question, this is a full Master of Arts degree. So you're going to get a full master's degree. The grand total cost is, I think, $21,000. So that might sound like a lot, but it's not really that much for a master's degree if you shop around and look at programs. And ours is done in a year. You start this July, you'll get your diploma next July. And we really cram a lot of stuff into it. We have a lot of guest speakers. We have, in fact, for this this summer residency, I just counted yesterday because the last one confirmed, we have 13 guest speakers. And these are like some of the biggest name people in the industry who I've got blackmail photos on all. I mean, they all owe me favors, and they all just want to come in and just talk about the industry. And I don't know of any other program that's out there that treats indie publishing as thoroughly as we do. Most of the old kind of legacy publishing grad programs are teaching you how to be an editorial assistant in a New York publishing house in Manhattan. And, that's just, and there's still a career that way, but I think most people are more interested in doing their own indie publishing or forming their own indie publishing house. And I'm a hybrid author. I'm full on 1 foot in each side of the stuff. My Wordfire Press has published, I think, close to 400 books now by over 100 different authors. We publish those books. I do a lot of my own books that way, but I'm still writing Dune books with Tor. I've got a big fantasy trilogy with Tor books. We've got my comics I'm working on through Boom Studios and other major comic publishers. So, I think I've got the experience in whatever path you want to take. And Melissa, you could be talking about this, but I love doing this and I have fun doing it. And I think the students kind of have fun doing it too. One thing that I just adamantly stand against is that I am not going to do any assignments that are just busy work assignments to give you something to write. You're not writing term papers. You are publishing a book. This is not, why do I care about a term paper? I want to be able to see this book. And in fact, the way we've got it set up that these old classic royalties that they don't earn a lot because they're old classic books that have been around forever, but the money that they earn goes directly into a separate account for the publishing program, which allows us to fund the covers and marketing stuff for next year. And in fact, one of the things Melissa's group is going to do when they come in for the residency is we've got a batch of money that they're going to play with, that they're going to run experimental Amazon ads and Facebook ads, and they can compare and see what worked. And that's just the best way to get a hands-on, a practical experience in doing stuff rather than a theoretical understanding of African basket weaving or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. And I looked at a bunch of other programs too, and I was looking at doing this because, $20,000 is an investment, but this program is really like nothing else out there. And honestly, it's less expensive than the other programs out there. So that might be something that people don't know is if you look at master's degrees, typically you're going to spend a lot more than that. But this one, the other thing I want to say before we wrap up is that you get a networking group through this program that is, you won't find this kind of networking anywhere else except for maybe the Superstars Writing Conference. But
I have a denominator there.
I know. And it's funny because so even though we've all been on break from our last semester to starting in summer, I still find myself like I'm doing another book. And so I put that up there on our group because we have a group too and say, hey, what do you guys think of this? Or what do you think of that? So you get that relationship with not just your group that's in the classes with you, but the previous group. And so anyways, I just got to say it's a great program and you guys will love every single second of it. So if our viewers want to learn more about the program, they can go to your website and learn a whole bunch about it. Kevin, what's the website that they can all go to?
Well, the easiest one is my own website is wordfire.com, that one. And there's a section up there that says Publishing Master's Degree. And I've got some photos and some more background on it, and then the direct links. I'm not going to babble off long URLs. So if you just go to the wordfire.com one, it'll take you to wherever you need to go. And I'm also if you are interested and have specific questions, there's a little contact thing there that you can shoot me an email. And like I said, we do have a couple slots open for this year, and I would love to fill them. And it's 5 weeks before we start. So,
which is July 12th. So for those that are watching this at a different time, the summer residency, the beginning of the program is July 12th.
Right. And it's the first week will be virtual. So the July whatever that week is, July 12th through 17th or whatever, that you'll be doing this. You'll be sitting on your screen and we'll be interacting like that. And then the subsequent week, you will be in Gunnison, Colorado. You'll probably be staying in a dorm or a hotel room if you want to. And it's just 5 days and we will be hanging out, and we've got the guest speakers and all kinds of fun stuff. So I hope to see you. And Melissa, thanks for giving me a chance to spout off about my proud little baby that I have here that I'm creating.
Yeah, I love it too. So you're welcome. And then for all of you viewers out there, we're going to post all of these links and information right now. So thank you all for joining us on the book break. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.